Hello, BookTube. Well, that dark day has come. I have checked and double checked. I have had my tech people check, and it's true. This channel has somehow reached 20,000 subscribers. An old man who sits on his couch and rants all day long about books and tells in-jokes that are understood by himself and precisely one other person on Earth. Doesn't seem possible, but nevertheless, it is a milestone. I also want to point out just briefly, it's parenthetical here, but plenty of other creators on YouTube have reached 20,000 subscribers. None others have made 8,000 videos themselves alone. No one else has done that. And this channel has relatively recently just passed the 8,000 video mark. So it's time to do a Q&A. We do Q&As at milestones. I stopped doing them at every 100 subscriber milestone because YouTube's algorithm changed, or the bots went south for the summer, and suddenly that would have been ridiculous to do. But nevertheless, we are going to do it. We're going to do a Q&A on this channel, so I'm going to make this video to call for questions, and I will do them on the weekend, so the whole week to accumulate questions. With the usual barrage of instructions and reprimands and recommendations and whatnot. This first being, leave your question on this video. Leave it in the comment section of this video. If you send me an email that's 9,000 words long, talking to me about your earliest childhood memories and your plushie toy named Missy, and at the end of that video, which of course, at the end of that email, which I'm not going to read, at the end of that video, you say, oh, by the way, here's my question for your Q&A. Or even if you don't, even if you send an email just saying, oh, by the way, here's my question, I'm not going to remember to port it over to where all the other questions are. So if you have a question, I'm not saying anybody will, but if you have a question, leave it in the comment section of this video. And then there are a few gentle guidelines as to the questions themselves. I leave my email on every video, so it's easy to contact me. So if you have a question for a Q&A that is really just you taking me aside and asking an incredibly niche, incredibly specific recommendation of something. Swiss currency reform in the 17th century as it regards naval trade. Don't do that in a Q&A. Obviously, don't do that in a Q&A. Also, if you could avoid thinly veiled insults in a Q&A, that would be great. I know I'm largely covering my bases here. None of you are going to do that, but nevertheless, a Q&A is for rapid fire questions for us all to have fun. So if you could avoid thinly veiled insults, that would be nice. And also, filibustering would be great as well. So I'm still a little bit traumatized from an experience I had on a Steve stream, a live show. What was it, a month ago, where one person came into that live stream and asked, no exaggeration, 111 questions, just one after another, after another, after another, after another. They weren't waiting for answers to their questions, and they weren't looking at what anyone else was asking. They were just firing off one after another question. So they got to 111. I stopped the Steve stream when I saw that because it gave me an icky feeling all over, and I mentioned in the next Steve stream, don't do that. I don't like to block anybody from my channel for any reason, but don't. That is psychotic behavior. So if you could also, observe that in this Q&A, one or two questions is probably just fine. And short questions. I'm going to read every question. I'm not going to block them together like some booktubers do. I'm going to read every question. So if you write a doctoral dissertation, 8,000 words for your questions, I'm going to read it, but I'm not going to like it. So don't do it. Okay. So the basic stuff like that. Don't ask for personal correspondence, personal, incredibly idiosyncratic correspondence in a Q&A that I'm going to answer on camera for everybody, that I'm going to make into a video or a series of videos. When you have my email, why would you do that? Don't ask questions to which you already know the answers. Definitely don't test me. All the usual stuff that is pointless for me to say because none of you are going to do that. So, but anyway, I just thought to get them out of the way in case a wild leap horn comes in from nowhere and is brand new to the channel and says, well, you didn't say. Also, for new people, obviously, if we've reached 20K, there must be new people. Also, there is a type of question. It might seem like it fits all of my parameters. I'm strongly urging you not to ask it. It is what is known on this channel as a have you read question, where you think of some book that you read 10 years ago and you want to know if I've read it. It is fine for you to ask me a question about what I thought of it. But I get have you read questions. Have you read questions asking someone who is visibly 300 years old and who has done nothing but read all day long, every day, for longer than your parents have been alive. So asking me, have I ever read David McCullough's Truman, it's going to get me going, and not in a good way. So you could avoid that. If you have a question about what I think of a certain book, simply ask me what I think of that book. If I haven't read it, I'll be the first person to sing out that I haven't read it. Anyway, rather than ask me, have you read The Scarlet and the Black by Stendhal? Anyway, so basic parameters. Those of you who've done Q&As before on this channel, they'll be very familiar to you. So we'll do a Q&A because we reached 20K, and I will answer all these questions on the weekend if there are any. And in the meantime, of course, all my joking aside, I do want to thank you all. Of course, I want to thank you all. It is surreal beyond the point of even understanding what I'm saying, the words coming out of my mouth, that such a number could attach to anything, any channel that I would make. I'm not going to let that surreal confusion move me into asking the unaskable question on this channel, which is why anybody would watch this channel. I have long since come to the conclusion, I have long since come to my contentment on the subject, that is basically the impenetrable mystery of the Trinity, that there is no answer to that question. So I'm not asking that. I'm deeply confused by it, but I'm not asking it. Instead, I'm just grateful. That's all. The more the merrier here. So that's what this video is, a call for questions for 20K Q&A. We did, in fact, reach 20K. But I'll wrap this up for now, and I will see you soon. Thank you, BookTube.